to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday. Okay, woohoo! I want to go. La, 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 la. You know why? Because in the whole world, all the indigenous, darker than a paper bag, are still indigenous. Woohoo! We still sing our indigenous tribal songs and still sing our First Nations songs. We still dance. You know, I'm a traditional Nistu, you know, the Daniko Makoyo Sakoyi. I was born in 1956, especially my mother born in 1938 and my dad born in 1936. Raised being Nitsitapi, so I like to dance traditional that way. So, woohoo! But indigenous. I just came from the Bay Area American Indian Two-Spirit Powwow, and it was the 15th annual. And it was like Bad Bunny flags coming in the grand entry. We had people from Colombia, from Peru, from Brazil, and there was more than 50 Azteca dancers that came in with a kapal and cleaned us off and blessed us all. And then before that, I mean, it was like Oklahoma. All the Oklahoma Gore dancers came, and they just blessed us, and they sang for an hour before the powwow started. So my ally is Auntie Stephen Barrios, because I really helped with get all the feathers, ermine, and everything for his kami poismanix, his stand-up headdress, some years back. And so that's like when someone is transferred, we try to dance with them. And because it takes time to say what responsibilities and the protocol that comes with it. So I always dance with Stephen Barrios, Auntie Stephen. And we'll probably dance together till we die. And then even when we get over, because Stephen and I will go over the Milky Way. Takes about 4 days. Makoyo Sakoyi. And we'll be at the Big Sandy, the Sand Hills. Just like your ancestors explained to you in the language what happens to you when your physical body dies, but you're still alive. Woohoo! We are still alive. We're like, you know, we're alive. We're thriving. And you know, so welcome to Wellness Wednesday. If this is your first time coming on, we started in March 2020 with what was known as the Power Hour. We went 7 days a week. We had singers, dancers, and it was positive, productive, and proactive to lift Native people, Indigenous people, Métis people, First Nations people, and during the pandemic, it went out to Australia. We'd have people from London, we'd have people from all over the globe who would tune in for an hour to get their heart and their inner emotions uplifted. So welcome, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I am just fired up. And I'm fired up because I was on the road for 15 days. So I'm going to share healing and traveling. And then I just got back last night. And I slept so beautiful. Because you sleep beautiful in your own nest. You know, and I smudged everything off. I'm still a little bit unpacking because I got so many gifts. Like, look at this gift. I got this from a Facebook friend that I had for 10 years. And we never met each other till we were in San Francisco at Fort Mason. And she had a vendor's booth. And she wanted to thank me for the things that I guess posted on my page for 10 years. And Facebook's always kicking me off, and I'm not quite sure why. Because I guess I'm not white male supremacy kind of person. Duh! Me? White supremacy? What? Frickin' no! Badass Auntie is not white supremacy. Anyway. Anyway, they kicked me off. So that means you must be doing something right if some of the social media kicks you off. And it might be when someone blocks you and you're clean and sober and you're rigorously honest and you go to therapy and you get brain spotting and you try to do a 4-step every once in a while. And you try to explain with a 5th step and a 6th step and a 7th step to some people you trust, your fellowship, either at a meeting or your fellowship at the ceremonies, that you need prayers to change your behavior so that you are calm inside and you can look into the mirror and love yourself. You can self-regulate and say, oh yeah, I got some wrinkles and all right. Yeah, I had cancer on my nose. So those of you who want perfect skin, go watch someone else who has perfect skin. Who has a good little turkey neck like this? Who has, well, at least my boobs aren't saggy. Eh? And I don't use a push-up bra or I don't pose like this. Like a fish with lips blowing in the wind. Eh? Anyway, if that's, and I don't, hell no, I don't even have perfect eyebrows. Sometimes they're Godzilla eyebrows. But that's okay, because that's just me, and that's just you. So, Nistu, like I said, Nidaniko Mokoyo Sakoi. And I'm been living here, born and raised in Heart Butte. My parents took us on an urban excursion to the San Francisco Bay Area, and I just returned from that. So this topic of, it's good to go visit your old stomping grounds. And I was there for 7 nights on the Fisherman's Wharf, at the powwow, and then Native American Health Center. Bless them, bless the Wapipaws, bless the Wakazoos, bless Aurora, bless, Michelle Maz, bless April McGill. And I just, and bless Janet King, because I got to see, I always go back because Janet King and I worked together since the 70s. And she left us. She decided to go over the Milky Way during the pandemic. But her legacy lives on. Her legacy. So I got to have Talking Circle at the Friendship House. 80-bed facility for natives in treatment. I got to go there and even the LGBTQ Two-Spirit. I was so honored. I just got there in Land O'Lakes, and the committee asked me to say the prayer. And I just flew in because I had just done a TOT in Portland for 3 days. But I was self-regulated, and I just came to hug everybody and tell them I love them. And the ones that I just like and I don't love, I still hug them. And I tell them I'm really happy to see them. And I watch them and I see how they interact. And if I see things, good, bad, and ugly, the more time I spend, I just love them. When you know someone and you know the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you know their story, that's why it's important for us to share our story and let people know what is going on. And remember this is badass Ansi talking to you. You are only sick as your secrets. And it doesn't mean you have to go out there and write a book about it, although some people do. Oh, yeah, I was raped 1,000 times. Hey, no. Chapter 1. Chapter 2. Oh, yeah, I had bad relationships with narcissists with 1,000 partners. Chapter 2. Knock it off. All you have to do is heal and figure out, go inside, self-regulate, and just become better than your younger self. It's not competitive. You hear that? You're not competing with someone. If they're trying to compete with you, they're not working their program. So, if you want to have PowerPoints, have them. If you want to have AI help you because you're too ugly, no. If you want AI to fluff you up so you look Indian because you look like a white supremacist, I'm sorry. It's just my humor. I'm still out to lunch with that AI stuff because I'm still healing and helping groups of people heal from Buffy St. Marie's and Epstein's. And so even pretend Indians are frickin' fake ass Indians is something that we need to heal with, because evidently they're the ones, getting the PhDs and writing books and trying to come in and learn our medicine so they can make some medicine and sell it on Instagram. That's wild. That is wild. So in my traveling, it's really good to ally and to stay close to those who work a program, are their authentic self, and they're not trying to groom you or master manipulate you or gaslight you or any of, there's all these, there's all, white people always make all these terms and then they put it out there and then people think they have it. So I'll just one comment from the 15 days of sitting just in healing circles, and most of it with Native Wellness Institute events and Native American health events. And this brain spotting, I just came back from a hike along, and I don't know, maybe it's like 25 Fahrenheit, whatever, but it was so beautiful, I lost track of time. And so I came in and I thought, it's time for Wellness Wednesday. So I braided my hair, put some hairspray on, and I went to I don't have 1,000 t-shirts, but I have quite a few. And I remember I got this a couple years ago at the gathering on Flathead Lake for Two Spirit. And they're having the 30th annual. So, come this year if you want. If you want to heal, if you're homophobic or transphobic, we welcome you to come and to hear our stories and quit judging us. So when we're having the 30th annual, and David Herrera is the executive director, and all of the staff, they jumped in 2 cars and drove all the way out to Bates Powwow, and all suited up and danced and all brought flags. So the 30th, but I got this shirt and I really like it because it says decolonize data. And that is significant to me because ever since I got my master's in public health from UC Berkeley in 1981, I was born in the 1900s, and I got my bachelor's in social welfare from UC Berkeley. I usually don't say that because Indians don't trust highly educated Indians in institutions that can brainwash us to turn white. Anyway, they didn't turn me white. But I love data. Like here on this reservation and wherever I go, whichever First Nation, our rancheria, our reservation, our urban area, I always say, well, how many tribes, how many members, how many are enrolled, and what's your average life expectancy? Because then that data helps you. If you look at if it's below what is the standard, like in America in the 70s, and Canadians live longer because they have free health care. We do not. Our people die because they don't have adequate health care. And that should not be happening to any human being. They should not be dying because they don't have health care. So that's something we can work on, and that we need to give to every child, every pregnant mother, even the white supremacists, they deserve health care. Most of them got it because they're, and no, I won't say anything judgment like that. But this decolonizing data, here on this reservation, we have 18,000 enrolled and 20,000 with a quarter blood or less because there's blood quantum. And it's an election year, so only enrolled can vote and only enrolled can run. Plus they have to live here. They can't be living somewhere else like in, Florida and fly home and run for, chairman. A president or any of that other stuff. So I just say to you, I come to you today and I'm integrating all that I was blessed with in this traveling. And when you travel, even if it's traveling out of state or to a new community, because, it's March Madness, we're all traveling to it's Res Ball. It's Res Ball season, or it's wrestling season, for Indians, or it's hockey season. Whenever you travel out, make sure that you have boundaries. And that the travel includes healing agenda. It's just like, since I was traveling with something sacred, I only hung around natives. I danced, but only had people I trusted and I loved and who had respect for sacred things around me this 15 days. And I was thinking about that, so that's not like walking up and down with different kinds of energies in the airports, shopping, or wherever you're out with different kinds of energies. Having a boundary, and we were laughing, Aurora and I, because Aurora is so cool because she says to herself, and then I said, well, say it out loud, because we were talking about how we self-regulate. She said, I say in my mind, but I also say, be patient, be patient, be patient. And I said, that's funny because on this trip, I always say to myself, and even when I was walking, because I saw some prints that might have been wolf prints, but I think it was the dog, how it was. But when I was walking, you could, if you're fear-based, because people that are in fear all the time, they something goes wrong with their kidneys, and I don't want that. And my A1C is 6, and I want to keep it under 6. So I, even walking in the woods, when I would go to that thought of, yes, there might be a wolf, and I got my weapon, And so I unlock it, and I'm fast. But I didn't want to go there, and so I just said self, and I told Aurora, that's what I say is self-regulate. Self-regulate. And that's, for you 12-steppers, when we say, God, woohoo, God, woohoo, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So then I'll just share this funny with you, because I'm in this I'm in my calm place, and I decided to watch the State of the Union address. And it's interesting because I stayed neutral, and I was looking at who was talking and then looking at who was around them. It was so staged. It was so staged. Like, I even think some of those hockey players still had alcohol in their body. But all I heard was lies, fabrication, scapegoating, and distraction. Rather than, these are all the pictures of saying black people are like apes. You mofo, you don't understand. And the person that said, black people are not apes, I don't know if they escorted him out, are the Somali and the people that were yelling back at him. They wouldn't let you understand, so it was staged. But I watched it, and I just made a smudge, stayed neutral, and I still feel neutral now, except for humor. It's humor. I stayed neutral, and I lit a smudge, and I actually ground some medicine, and then I turned it off and said prayers for everybody, prayers for our democracy, prayers for the people that don't have any food, the people that have mental health problems, for all of, and not just Americans, but all of us. Because now I notice that some people live in fear and don't come to America. I go back and forth across the border all the time. I don't fear going to places. Even when I went to Peru because of a dream, they have dogs that smell everything you have. And then they have men. Ooh, some ice just dropped off the top of my roof. I have a tin roof. That means it might be warming up. But even when I went to Peru and I saw soldier-like men with automatics, we just had boundaries, and we were with people who were Inca or spoke Quechua, and we weren't doing anything wrong. But that's when you realize, when you travel outside of America, remember you're American. When you travel outside of America, those American laws, unless you've got embassy sovereign immunity or something, you are under the laws of wherever you travel. Like, if they all recycle, you better recycle. If they all don't smoke, you better not smoke. But if they all, it's you're really, and they can interpret the law any way they want. And if you talk back to them, they will enforce the interpretation of the law against you. So anyway, I wanted to share a couple stories with you, because this 15 days, one of the stories that I wanted to share with you was the training of trainers at Barbie's Village. And Barbie is a person. She wanted to build tiny homes for native people that were houseless and didn't have homes, especially that had children. And so we have a 2.5 acres that Native Wellness Institute has acquired along with others, and the whole neighborhood owns this Barbie's Village. So the story that I'm sharing with you comes from Barbie's Village, and it was a training of trainers in healthy relationships. And it was sometimes it's 70 people, but this group was smaller, like around 21 people, 25 at the most. And the story I wanted to share with you, and this has to do with, when you decolonize data, when you're working with the Indian people, the ice is falling down. The indigenous traditional practitioners operate in a different way. And they don't need no licensed clinical social work. They don't need no specific white rubber stamped training. They have gifts. And so the story is of a woman who was in that training, and she did, we just facilitated it. So it's facilitation of like a healing the healers, and we show the curriculum, and then we honor their skills in an interpretation of that curriculum. But this one person did so much work, just incredible work on themselves with their own interpersonal and their community healing. And then later afterwards she messaged me and said that I had come into her dreams. And just, yesterday, another person that was in San Francisco that I was with for 2.5 hours, and then at the powwow, said I came into her dream. And then, so I'm just sharing, so then I have no control over that. I don't say, okay, I'm going to go over and doctor this one in the dream. They call it astro traveling. I have a Wisconsin young person. I used to go, especially during the pandemic, go to her very, very often. But as she healed, I didn't go enter. And then she would come into my dreams. So it was like mutual. So one of the things I wanted to just share with you today is really pay attention to your sleep hygiene. Like, how many hours does it take so that you can remember your dreams? And who do you, when you, upon awakening, tell your dream to whoever's around you, even if you just tell them what you dreamt so you remember, because it's information to you in your healing. So I get it often enough, and often when they say, well, you're in my dream, blah, 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 I call them, and then, because it's not about me, it's about them. Or both of us. And sometimes you take on when you're helping someone, you take on what they have. And that's when, that's that God grant me the serenity to accept the things you cannot change. Because we can't go and fix people, but the courage to change the things we can help people who are willing, who show a willingness that they want to change. That is where I think some of the magic comes in, and the magic of healing. Native Wellness Institute, we started in the 80s. We became this formal 501c3 26 years ago. We're an NGO, but we have a mission in Native Wellness Institute to keep the teachings of our ancestors alive. So that's what we practice and what we strive for anything that. And so, but it's native. We're not, the Chinese American Institute. We're not the, and I don't want to, we're not the Swedish Institute. We're the Native American, but I almost want to say we're the indigenous because of how we've taken, we have best practices, and we've taken them to Australia, we've taken them to the Maori, and we've taken them across Canada, and we've even taken them south, where the Condor, and they work in helping people heal. So it's kind of like, everyone's doing, trauma-informed healing, but we're doing healing-informed healing. So healing-informed healing. So I just, there's humor to all of this, and I choose to, it's that wisdom to know the difference. It helps if I laugh at myself sometimes, because I was like, anyway, I said, well, maybe I shouldn't tell people I watched the State of the Union, because nobody in my family watched it. Nobody in my tribe watched it. But here I was watching it because I wanted to see if I could self-regulate and not, just hold up the finger to the screen. And I didn't. I stayed neutral because I was really trying to understand. But once I saw all the lies and heard the lies, I was understanding differently. Once I saw the scapegoating and blaming, I was understanding differently. And then I just said, wow, it's going to be an interesting year. And I'll tell you, and even last night in dreaming, part of my dream is I dreamt there was this young Blackfeet person, and they had to go up to this window, and in this window they got their identification. And there was another person, and I couldn't tell if it was a mother, but it wasn't a partner. It was someone who really loved them, and they went and they stood back as they went to the window and got this ID. And they weren't talking in words, but she said to him telepathically, congratulations, you got your identification. Or, and they both started crying. Because it was able to have, because, they try to stop us every way, and birth certificate, all that kind of stuff, but they try to stop us if we don't have our papers. Think about that. And so I said, do I need papers to know who I am? Do I need papers to know who my siblings are? Do I need papers to know who all my cousins are? Do I need papers to show all of my kinship? No. So it's like, we don't need papers. We just need to hang around you, and we know when you're pretend. We know when you're not authentic. We call you out on it, why are you acting like that? Or why are you acting like, we tease. Why are you acting like a crow, eh? Because we're not crow. Or why are you acting like a Cree? Because we're not Cree, we're Blackfoot. But we're so intermixed. We have people who are half crow, half Blackfoot, half Cree, half Black. It's just it's a stereotypy. It's got humor on us, because how do we behave? What are our values? What do we, because I was just one of, and this, I'll just say a couple things. I was very appreciative of this brain spotting training, because our team that went, it was Healing the Healers, and it was a really good connection of energy for us to be with each other when we were healing. And what I saw a value was that, the person who has a pointer, you have to trust them, and you keep your head still and your eyes connect, and if there's a fluttering or a reaction when you're speaking the issue. So what happened for me is my eyes must have fluttered when I talked about I still need more healing from grief. And that was the area. And then I had tears. And then I said exactly what I was grieving from. And I closed my eyes and I came back to walking down where my driveway is. And when I walked down, I came directly to where Swift Current and I unrolled that lodge, that teepee that I gifted to him last May, transferred to him. And but since he decided to leave and he took his own life in August, I'm still grieving. Like right now, I got rid of a lot of it, the grief, because it was grief will hold you back. That's why in healing, we really, unresolved grief, we have to move through it. And so I'm not crying right now, but when I went on this walk, I was talking to him, because I always talk to him, because he would walk in the woods like this, and we would walk in the woods, or we would look at the lake, and I would read the land, So I looked at the trees that had been blown down, because we have rough wind. They said we'll have 85-mile-per-hour gusts today in Montana. And I know this is how I know there's swift, there's big gusts, is I have really heavy, like quilt, comfortable, king size blankets that they're not blankets, they're more like quilts, and they're heavy. And when I woke up this morning, I thought, I'm going to put them I'm going to put them out, put them out on the deck. And I'm going to let fresh air. Tonight, and I'm going to change all my sheets to my favorite flannel sheets. And I'm just going to remake my nest. Just this calm comfort, because you should sleep. Because I remembered my dreams last night, but you remember your dreams, your sleep hygiene. So the wind was so strong right before I came on. I just looked up and I saw and they're heavy, like weigh a lot of pounds. I just saw the wind grab it and it went up like a kite. And it landed down on the snow. So I just went, and I said, okay, that's enough of it airing out. And so I went out there and crunch, because, I guess I am going to show you a little bit, because one of the ways when you're traveling, you can close your eyes and you should self-regulate. So I always think about my tobacco plant. And look at the new one just sprouting up. I always think about my comfortable home. But this is what I think about right here. When you're traveling, always have your self-regulation. It's not deep snow, but there's enough snow, and you can see that. Like, look at the ice right here is coming down off of my roof. And the grief of my nephew that left in August, it's big, because him and Dave Kennedy, they put a brand new roof. That's like 80 feet long, to help me and to take care of me. They put a new roof on here, and they they secured it down. And it was kind of funny, and I go, some spirits told me the last time I danced with Buster Yellowkidney's bundle that I was probably going to live to be 90. I said, well, this roof, if that's true, will it last? And they go, oh yeah, this roof will last even when you're not here. So So then, it's like, who am I going to leave the house to? Because, yeah, whoever, the brand new roof, and, the inside is solid. It's solid because I've been here 31 years, and this log home, even when it's 60 below Fahrenheit, 50 below Fahrenheit in January, it just have that wood stove going. It just cozy. I have that big fireplace. Anyway, I just thought to myself, when you self-regulate, think about the frozen lake. Because like right now, it's winter, it's February, March 20th is the equinox. So very soon, less than, almost 30 days will be in the equinox. So prepare, because part of our self-regulating is to do what our ancestors did during the solstice, since December 21st, doing the cycles of the moon. The moon was beautiful. Pay attention to the moon, because it will heal you if you do your ceremonies from new moon, quarter moon, half moon, 3/4 moon to full moon. And so and then when it's full moon, you have permission to, like one of my grandma aunts, the Nikiwa, and them, White Quiver, Atto Khan, Beaver Iron Pipe. From them, my ancestors, they're gone now. They said you could trim your hair on a full moon, but it's a ceremony, smudge off. And the only other time that you're supposed to cut your hair is for grief. So I was thinking about that, like all this grief that I had, that's an option to cut your hair, but you're supposed to cut it about 6 inches, because then when that 6 inches grows back, that shows you that you've had a good sit with your grief and it's time to move on. And I've been reflecting, and a part of the reflection is like, my dad has been dead. And I say, yeah, he died, his physical, but not him. He's still around. His spirit always helps us. But I still will cry once in a while because I miss him. Died in 2022. No, 2002. So that's quite a while ago. But then then there's other, humans. One of the blessings, if you have a imita or a cat or a horse, ponakamanta, and you love them and they love you, you make a treaty with them. And when they physically die, they can trigger or give you a glimmer of all your other grief that you haven't completely, you might have stuffed it somewhere in your body, or you might have stuffed it. And so when Okan Iron Pipe died, and now, this is good, I'm not even crying about him, because I would cry. I must have I'm cleaning out grief. It triggered all my little bitty unresolved grief. Of my uncles and my aunties, as each one of them left. It triggered the unresolved grief with my great grandma. Whoa, there's all these noises, but it's when the ice falls off the tin roof and hits something. Anyway, but if a mountain lion or a wolf takes me out, I had a good life. And I don't have a weapon right now. So, let's see, because I'm a practicing speaker. a big howler, tapi, amoy tapi, a mountain lion, big howler. Makoi wolf, or I don't have that fear. I don't fear because I've always like the mountain lion. How do you know these things? Was always told that that mountain lions respect boundaries. And so it's good to take your morning urine and pee the perimeter of where you live. And so, I've always told my family, go outside there at your morning, and because you're marking your territory. You're marking your territory. And so I've always done that, not out in the lake, but north, south, and west that way. And then, except for in 2019, I did have to kill a mountain lion that jumped actually jumped right here. It came and it was so quick, it jumped right here. But I had turned out the lights and it couldn't see me. And my foxes were making that kind of noise. And I just instantly, because I just in nanoseconds got my my 9mm, and it's 147 grain hollow point, and I slid that door open just like this much, and I shot it mid belly, and it jumped and it ran that way. So who did I call? I called Swift Current, Dougie. I called Swift Current, and he was coming, and then he said, don't go out there because a wounded mountain lion is dangerous. He said, just wait till I get there. So I reported to Fish and Wildlife. Anyway, it took them a couple days, and they found it that way, bled out. But I felt so bad, when it happened, because right where I shot it, right there was blood. And so I took some tobacco, and I thanked it for its life. But in the ethics of being a Tsitapi, it was right near my house, and I didn't want it. It was, here, this close. But I felt bad that I had taken its life and killed it. So I put some tobacco and said, I thank you for your life, and I thank you and I'm really sorry because I don't know other mountain lions. And I put that tobacco in where the blood was. But then I have to share with you, and you can check this story out with Peter Weasel Moccasin. We were having the next day, the reason I was going to bed so early and turned off the lights is because I had to pick up my mom at 5:30 because we were going to go to the the teachings of the buffalo, the next day. And so I had to get up quite early and then drive to get my mom, and then drive out to where we had the herd of buffalo in their winter camp, and then we have the whoa. That was the clunk. I love it. It just shows, things flux. Leroy Littlebear says the flux. Boom! It just hits really loud. So, but when I went there, I had slept good, and I picked up mom. Our mom said, "I'll meet you there." So, and she's independent, so we try not to, try to take her by the arm, make her that pitiful. No, she don't do that. Mommy don't do that. She don't do that. So I said, okay, Mom, I'll meet you there. And so I got there early, than most people. She hadn't arrived, and there was Peter Weasel Moccasin. And there was, a few people standing around. And because I saw him, and because he's, one of our esteemed elders, I said, Peter, I killed a mountain lion. I shot a mountain lion last night. And then, so then, you know, he could sense that. So he said, come over here. And so it was a lesson for me, not for, you know, everyone standing around. Plus they probably said, what? Because most women don't kill a mountain lion. But the badass auntie killed a mountain lion. So anyway, but Peter, and I guess, you know, maybe I'm sharing this because I'm just visiting with you about healing. It really helped with my healing. He said to me, he said when no, there was many. He said when something comes to your house, and I think the word I want to say comes to your domain, and it threatens you or your family, you kill it. So I felt like I was absolved. I didn't have that guilt anymore when he said that. And then, you know, we talked more, and he was seeing if I, you know, self-regulated. So he brain spotted me. Peter Weasel Moccasin brain spotted me. So I didn't have any more guilt about killing that mountain lion. I'll just say that. And then, you know, we talked. I said, well, you know, Peter, my family has always told me to take that morning urine and pee the perimeter, and that mountain lion will respect it. And, you know, but I say that I forgot maybe in some areas to do that. But I have these pet foxes, and my pet foxes are always around my house. And then I was saying, do mountain lions eat foxes? Because I could hear what alarmed me was my pet fox was making that pet fox sound that is like almost like a bark like that, but it was a warning. He was warning me minutes before that mountain lion jumped right there. So I became alarmed because my fox, and so maybe, I don't know, he was coming after the fox or whatever, but so he's, you know, he just said, so part of why I'm sharing this with you is when we're self-regulating, when we're finding our calm, our serenity, we also have to make our house, you know, now it's starting to snow. There's some good snow, some dropping. There's a little bit of snow. But wait, I always and that's what I did this morning. I got some at Barbie's Village. I have my tobacco, but they have their tobacco, and I took a little bag and I went and put it on all. My brother used to have his sweat over there. I put it on his sweat rocks to reignite all the prayers with Edward Muffet and Edward and Muffet Little Dog. They built a sweat here, and we'd always sweat here when Ira lived here, my brother, because it's his sweat. And we prayed. So I was thinking about you take that tobacco, you know, even when we were brain spotting, you know, we were sharing how we make our hotel room safe, and one of our participants said to put tobacco in the four corners. And so put tobacco around your house. I have all these ancient rocks that are petrified, and I have them around my house. But put tobacco around and ask for it to be a safe place. Ask for it to be a safe place where you can heal and where you can self-regulate, and where it's a place where it's your home. This is your home. So when you're traveling, bring that tobacco. You know, I was just thinking about healing because, boy, so much happened. I can't even in San Francisco, in Oakland, we just had such a beautiful, beautiful talking circle about Indigenous Day, you know, because in Berkeley, California, in October, what would be Columbus Day, in 1992, they declared it the first Indigenous Day. And then it became Indigenous, it's becoming Indigenous Day in in Montana and all around. Woo! That wind is cold. That wind is cold, but it feels good. And we don't say burr. Wimpy ass people say burr. Anyway, we just say Stewie, like that spirit of Stewie. It feels good. You acclimate, you toughen up, and I'm going to go back inside with the wood stove. But I was out here because I feel like we're going to see something. Because see all these footprints? Well, those are mine, but that was, but I think they're just the fox, because the fox come and play here. And they came last night, but I left a few little goodies out and they took it. So I'll leave a few little goodies tonight. But I just wanted to come to you and I was thinking what I was going to share with you. If there's any way you can come and be with us in Hawaii, where just more people are registering March 10, 11, and 12. And we have really good rates. I don't know, it's like $400 less than what it normally is. And it's on Oahu, and it's on the beach. The beach is just right there. You just walk out, and there's the beach. And you can swim in it, people surf in it. It's but we're doing trauma and healing informed. And you can go to www.nativewellness.com and register. But come with us, charge it on your credit card. Get your alimony and pay for it from your ex, eh? Come join us. Because, now, and I just, a lot of people want me to see me or message me and come where I am, please, and come where our team is. But come to Hawaii. That's happening. And then I wanted to invite you, because Andrea Fox in Calgary on March 14th. It's a Saturday. They're having, and it's the Niwa Jan, and I don't speak that language, but they're all the artists, I think, from Metalarks. Michelle's going to be there. From Twilight, one of the wolves is going to be there, and they're all Canadian, but they're going to have a fashion show, and they're doing a fundraiser. But come, I'm going to go there because I guess Andrea said I'm doing a workshop on the 14th. And then, this is the good part, I said, could I bring my sister Lori? But Lori's, I think she's already booked. But I said, can I be in the fashion show and wear some of Lori's clothes? So I get to be in the fashion show, and I'm just excited. And I get to wear my sister, because, Lori always sews all my clothes. She always has. And so I get to be in the fashion show, and I was just thinking, man, I have so many choices. I should count. I have more than 20 dresses and skirts. I can't even count them all that Lori has made for me. But I'm gonna be in that fashion show, so I'll be there. And we're all getting ready for August for not only the 30th annual Two Spirit Gathering. And the office, their office is in Missoula, but we're getting ready for the Healing Together, sponsored by the American Indian Cancer Foundation. So come be with us. Where it's in Milwaukee, and they're going to have the body workers. I call them the body workers, and their mind, body, and teaching you to self-regulate and to get rid of all of those where it hurts, and to do counseling with you. They're going to be there. So that's happening. And then, of course, Native Dads Network, they got some really good stuff happening in California. And Mike Duncan and Robin are going to get married this September. So, well, come to where we're at. I'm just, you could come to, we're having March Madness with the basketball. And, I'd encourage you Go with people that are like you, that think like you. And if their energy is not good, like, they're just bitching and complaining, don't hang around them. Hang around people who think it's a beautiful day. Hang around people who pray all the time. Hang around people who collect medicine. Hang around people who believe in tobacco, the teachings of sacred tobacco. Hang around people who love to wear ribbon skirts with 15 different ribbons. Just like do that. So I just wanted to come, Wellness Wednesday. Our whole purpose with Native Wellness Institute is we share some dialogue and some stories to uplift you. So I hope that during this hour that I've been with you, I've said something. And if you don't like what I say, that's okay. I like it. We like it. So, what goes around comes around. You can't stagger to freedom. Just easy does it. And I swear, I just feel so calm and good right now. I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the day. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Kitaki to Matsuno.